Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to Coping with Life. I'm your host, Scott. I hope you're doing well. I care about you. Alright. If you have been a loyal listener to me, thank you so much. I try to be very positive. You should be aware that even though I may talk negative, I may put myself down, I have a war on myself. I have anxiety issues, I have stress issues, and I battle many battles. So this week I'm going to talk about the Ticketmaster fiasco this past week. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, and so I'm gonna start my ramble right now. So thank you so much, but let's talk about Ticketmaster. Where do I begin? Okay, so if you don't know Ticketmaster and Taylor Swift, she's doing the Eras tour next year. Tickets, pre-sale tickets went on sale Tuesday at 10 a.m. local venue time. Asterisk. Because that was on the East Coast, and there was issues. And I was watching it unfold Eastern time, and I was waiting for the West Coast. And so I was allegedly boosted by Taylor's website, and that I should have had priority, because various reasons, and there's other people who had Loverfest and bought merch who were put on either the waiting list or not even get verified, and it was frustrating. And this is not the first time that Taylor Swift used the verified fan. And actually I had to go back to 2018. Actually, her tour was in 2018, but everything was done in November of 2017, and then tickets went on sale in December of 2017. Two totally different experiences. And so this year, it was a huge thing. And so I'm in line at 9 in the morning for Seattle. They gave me my pre-sale link and code, so I could do one show in Seattle. And I got the email at like 9 in the morning on Monday, which I was ecstatic. Like, okay, cool. I know people in the Seattle market were still getting emails from like 11 p.m. And then about 11:30 it became like a wait list. And then I saw a few people who got waitlisted about like 11 a.m. So that's kind of concerning, but I like doing my research. That's what I really like doing. I like doing research. Also kind of stresses me out as well. But I was so anticipating, and my anxiety, and I'm like, okay, Tuesday is going to be great, because I have procured some of the hardest tickets to obtain if I try, because that's what I do. I've seen Harry Potter the Cursed Child in the first season. In the first year with the original cast that came from West End in London, those were really hard to get. But I did it. And I've mentioned before, and I will go forward. But this year, it was different because the website was crashing. So here is the Seattle. It's almost 10. The waiting room never showed up for the West Coast, and 10 minutes before Seattle was supposed to go live, it kicks everybody out of the click and talk, and then it goes bad gateway, and then we don't hear anything for about 45 minutes. Because it's like, okay. And then they released, by the way, it's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm like, okay. Now I've been up, a while because anxiety. I don't want to miss out. And I do things the Scotty way. And I have a system. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm panicking, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. And, I can't get any other tickets. It's not like I can load up, a New York date or whatnot. I'm stuck with, the Seattle date that I said I wanted to go to. I wasn't given the opportunity to do the second date. So I was given the Saturday, which, if you know anything about me, I like Saturdays. I like Saturdays. That should be very, very obvious. I like Saturdays. Today is Saturday, and I love it. This podcast goes up every Saturday, and so I like Saturdays. So I wanted to do the Saturday date, and I love Seattle. I love Seattle very much. And any opportunity for me to try and save money, which is almost it was 7 months away. 8 months because it's December, and then 7 because it's in July. So it's 8 months before, so I can somewhat save up for that, hopefully, if I plan well. And hopefully my podcast gets a lot more so I can save it more. Anyway, but the Ticketmaster site was having issues, and there's people who were not part of the verified fan process who gained access due to various means, and then they had other opportunities, backdoors, and then there's a lot of people who said that there wasn't bots, especially there was actual evidence of massive bot attack for scalpers to obtain tickets. And then you read all of these comments on live feeds from people streaming on Twitch or TikTok or Twitter or all these other things where you can have live feeds with chat integration. And there's people like, oh, I got 6 tickets, I'm going to sell. And they totally admit that, oh, I'm selling, and they show proof. Because especially on Twitter, it's like, I have tickets here, go, and they show actual proof of them botting their way, and then selling for astronomical. And then a lot of people go to the, and this is Tuesday morning or late afternoon on the East Coast, where they go to these speculative sites, and some of them are like 28,000. And these are some of the same sites that I went to a couple days beforehand, who actually said that they had seats, which they didn't, because Ticketmaster sent an email saying, by the way, no tickets have been sold, nobody has any until this pre-sale. So, and they were selling, nosebleeds for 4,000. I can't afford that even on a good day. And I have no good days. And I'm on a very limited budget, being disabled and on government assistance. I don't have lots of money. And I barely make do. But this is something that I really wanted to go to, and I have a good friend who believed in me. So I'm going alone because, I go to things alone and nobody wanted to go with me. And so I'm after one ticket. A lot of people went and got their max a lot, which was 6, for the intention to sell most of them. And then you had a few people who on Tuesday, with the same account, because we when I say we, I mean myself, I watched these people on TikTok or Twitter, because, I'm just seeing, average prices, and this person on their same verified fan had access to like 9 shows on the same account in different locations, buying 6 tickets. And they're like, oh, I'm going to resell them. And I'm like, I'm not somebody who's going to complain on Twitter that I'm doing it here. And then you have people who are like, then you have the real fans who like to go to multiple shows. I don't got a problem with that. If you want to spend time in one location and then go into another location to spend time with some of your other friends, I have no problem with that. But for the intention of reselling, I kind of have a problem with that. Because, it's not going to be face value. And especially Facebook Marketplace was riddled with that. And if you look at your ticket, because a lot of artists and things, they don't want you to sell it, but you can transfer your ticket. And so that's what a lot of people are doing now, that they are transferring it. But, you know, beforehand on whatever third party website, they're selling these for astronomical. And so I'm watching this, and there's, you know, within 30 minutes of the East Coast going on sale, which would be 10:30 a.m., and people are in line for 5 hours, 6 hours for East Coast, and all that they see after they join the wait room and the queue, all that they are seeing is, you know, there's 2,000 plus people ahead of you. And they don't give you an exact number. Yeah, you could inspect Element and see your place in queue. I don't do that, but I know a lot of people who did, because on their live feed, they will keep on checking that way. And to each their own, I guess. But I'm a very patient person, and I'm still waiting for 3 p.m. I'm tired. I'm getting mad. I'm not getting mad of the situation. It's just when I get tired, I get mad, the anxiety. So I kind of work myself into a panic attack. And I have a good person in my life who is basically calm down while they're dealing with work and just texting me and just saying, oh, things will be okay. And I'm watching the firestorm from the East Coast. But 3 p.m. hits, and you have, and that's Pacific Standard Time. And then the website crashes, and I'm pretty fast clicking, and I'm following everything that they say. You know, they don't refresh, but you have the bad gateway and Max Connect. I wind up being in the waiting room within maybe 45 seconds. And then I'm still watching TikToks and whatnot, because I use the laptop that I record my podcast on. And so I was using my phone to just, and then within like, immediately it's like 7 plus people ahead of you. And then some of the TikToks that I was watching, or Facebook Live, or I was going through different, so I may be wrong on which one, but somebody like 30 minutes after, so like 3:30, 3:45, they jump in the queue. After they buying other tickets, they are like front of the line. Like they surpass the 2,000 plus, and I'm like, that's odd. And however, I think it was for like an LA show or Santa Clara, but I don't think it was for Seattle. I know it was a West Coast date. But a lot of people were showcasing their lives. Um, and then immediately deleting the VOD after they go off. Anyway, I'm just being patient. And I'm watching a lot of people complain about Ticketmaster. And I sent a text because I see that there's 2,000 plus people ahead of me. My little ticker doesn't move for almost an hour. And I'm like, okay, it's just not meant to be. Okay, that's how I am. And so I sent a text just being defeated. But I accepted. And I accepted that I do not have the opportunity to see Taylor Swift in July of 2023. And I kept silent. I made a big post on a Discord that I'm a part of, who I was really excited for a lot of the Swifties that I know, who I'm like, well, I hope everybody is able to get one, and I didn't foresee this train wreck. And I've been very positive and trying to give everybody all the information that was given to me. And I kind of blame myself for the mess. And so I'm in line, I'm texting, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to complain, I'm not going to yell at Ticketmaster, I'm not going to, it is what it is, right? And there's a lot of people who are having issues where you put a ticket in your cart, but that ticket's already been sold, and so you wait 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute of a spinning wheel of death kind of thing, and then it's like, oh, somebody beat you to it. They kept on putting them back into the field, and then I had that same issue, and it was frustrating, like, being a huge fan. Now, I'm going to pause on the Ticketmaster fiasco of 2022, and I want to talk about how the Reputation Tour handled this. Now, obviously, that was a long time ago. And I know Taylor Swift has risen in popularity, especially she's had many albums after that. And I will glance over Loverfest. Actually, I'll do that right now. So, Loverfest, there was only there was 4 shows. 2 back-to-back dates in LA, and then East Coast, which I think was in Massachusetts. I could be wrong, but there was just 4 shows total. There was Loverfest West, and then there was Loverfest East. Tickets went on sale in 2018, late 2018 for no, it was late 2019 for the 2020 shows. Because Reputation. So, yes. So, Lover came out in 2019. And Loverfest was supposed to happen in 2020. That did not happen. And that was really hard. Again, I was a verified fan. And I wasn't able to get one for Loverfest West. And I was okay with that. Because it was in LA. And I had a lot of stuff that was going through, and I knew 2020 was going to be a very busy year, and I said that I was going to attempt to get Loverfest West tickets, and I kind of missed out like within a few minutes of being in the queue, and it's like, oh, no more tickets. Okay, cool. That show didn't happen, and those people should get priority for, you know, this Eras tour. That also didn't happen, because most of those people did not receive a code for pre-sale. But let's talk about the 2017-2018 tour, which she was doing for Reputation, which was the first time that she did the verified fan. So it was supposed to put tickets into the hands of fans, and they had the booth system. If you bought merch from her website, you could elevate your status. And there were multiple days of pre-sale and time slots, and for your category. And so if you wanted the more expensive tickets, you had to, you know, work really hard to get to that and have that time slot. And I got the Friday time slot, which was for lower end cheap seats, and for my location, which was Seattle. And so my time slot hit. I was ready. I checked out, and even though I was nosebleed and I was far away, I still could see the stage, and I was still happy. It was very detailed, and this was, you know, 2017, 2018, and you know, Reputation being her sixth album. And now it's 2023. Well, it's 2022, going to 2023 for her tour. And this is her 10th album, which is Midnights. But she's had, since 2018, she's had Lover. She's had, in 2020, she released Folklore, and then Evermore in December of 2020. Folklore was in July of 2020. And then she released the Taylor's version of Fearless in 2021. And then at the end of 2021, she released Red. Fearless, Red, Taylor's version. And then during the summer, she announced that her next album, Midnights, was coming out on October 21st. well, what would be midnights. And so she has a lot of new material, and and her popularity is massive. Especially re-releasing, her Taylor's version of her previous albums. Excuse me. And then you have just her not being able to tour since 2018, the Reputation tour. So people want to see her live, and the demand is definitely there. And right now, only the American dates have been announced and on sale. I don't know how the other parts of the world is going to react when she does the international part of the Eras tour. So interesting to find how that will work. But I showed people how things worked in 2018. And they're like, oh, that's a cool system. It was a lot better than how, this past week happened. And yes, people have said within Live Nation / Ticketmaster that, over 13 million people tried accessing tickets to their 1.5 million people that they authorized. And so on Wednesday they had the Capital One pre-sale, which they pushed back because of the catastrophe, and so they had allocated seats, and they went pretty quickly. They had the same issue, especially people buying tickets without a Capital One card, which said that wasn't supposed to happen. And it just made a lot of fans more upset. Made scalpers happy. And there's not much that we could do. The site kept on crashing, and so Wednesday, I'm like, okay, I can't wait until Friday. I can't wait until Friday. That's when General on Sale goes on, and I want to try and see if anything's better. Well, because I try to be very positive, and my anxiety is high, and fighting depression. None of this was good for my mental health. Absolutely. Being disabled and mentally ill, coping with life. I was doing a lot of coping and trying to unease the panic attack that I was under. And I just wanted people to have a smooth opportunity who actually want to go, who has a passion for Taylor Swift, who, because I've been lucky to see her before, in 2018. You know, I bought the Midnight's album. And I was, you know, like Reputation. I really liked that album. I really liked Midnight's. I really liked Folklore. I liked Lover. Kind of, when Lover first came out, I really liked Lover. But then Evermore, it's not Evermore. It's not that Evermore is a bad album. It's just when it came out, that week in my life has a very it's a very, very emotional bad week in my life. And so Evermore, I can't listen to that album because I think about the week it came out. That entire week in December of 2020, I just can't. It takes me to a dark place I don't want to relive. And I've tried listening to that album. And I tried really hard. I just recently bought it on vinyl. And I was having a panic attack. I just couldn't even finish the first song because it took me back to that week the album came out. I love Taylor Swift to death. Love her music. Evermore is an album I just have a hard issue listening to. And the reissue of Fearless is great. The Taylor's version of Red, fantastic. She even did a short film. So she's very popular in the moment, and especially with the Eras tour, and with the possibility of her playing at least one song from each of her albums. You know, that, you know, for me, I'm like, yes, please. Because I like Debut very much. Speak Now, Fearless, 1989, so I mean the list the list goes on. Excuse me. And you know, just being a fan of the just her entire catalog is amazing. But her fans, and scalpers who can make a lot of money off of popular artists, and Ticketmaster should have known that there's an issue with scalpers and bots, because just a few weeks ago, and for people listening to this in the future, a few weeks prior to tickets going on sale, in 2022, for their Eras tour, Blink-182 released tickets for their upcoming tour, and with dynamic pricing and whatnot, it was astronomical. And a lot of people there were just buying them to flip and not actually see Blink-182. And then a week before, and then there's this, I don't know when, the Harry Styles tickets, because apparently a lot of people were doing the same thing for his tour. which I don't know much about. I don't really listen to his music. But then a week, so I think it was around the 10th of November, maybe beforehand, because I know I don't know exactly when, but I got an email saying, hey, become a verified fan for Paramore. And I'm already dead set for Taylor Swift, and I can't do both, especially since the Paramore show would have been like 3 days after Taylor Swift's concert. So I would do a Taylor Swift concert and then a Paramore. I'm like, that's not happening. So I opted, like, I like my Paramore, but I don't need to see them. And so I chose not to. And a lot of people had an issue with Paramore tickets going on sale. And the ticket prices and whatnot. And I wouldn't be able to afford Paramore tickets even if I wanted to go. And I'm trying really hard not to, blame Ticketmaster for all their fees and find ways to charge the consumer trying to go to events. Because it's been happening since I was a kid who really liked going to concerts and events. It's something that, is a thing. Yeah, as, inflation and time goes on, they tack more fees and find any way to get more money out of you. That's just a thing. It's just something that it's like, it happens. So I then trying to find more research. So they canceled the general sale. They released a blog post that they immediately deleted, kind of blaming the fans for the issue. They didn't claim fault. Then Taylor Swift yesterday, being Friday, released a little blurb on her Instagram saying, sorry, well, going forward, we're trying to make things better. And if you're a fan and you didn't get a ticket, you'll go. There will be many opportunities to see her live again. So another thing that I was having so a lot of true fans had tickets in their cart, and then the website had an issue and then kicked them out, and then they had to wait in line again. So they went back to the line, and then you had people who were trying for tickets, but the only tickets that were really available were nosebleeds behind the stage, and hearing them say, well, we don't want those. And then, like, well, we can't find any tickets other than these, so we're just not gonna go. And they canceled Friday pre-sale. And then these are the same people who said that, they couldn't get a ticket whatsoever, all this stuff. they were kind of called out by other Swifties who said, well, you had a chance, you chose not to. And I'm like, well, we don't want to be nosebleed behind this. It's like, oh, now you don't have a ticket. And I don't like that negative behavior. But I wanted to bring it up because that's a lot of issues. For me, I would be happy with anything. Now, before going forward, I got one ticket. I happened to be going to the show in Seattle, and I happened to be nosebleed behind the stage. I didn't care. There were tickets that, I couldn't afford a VIP package even if I wanted to. But they were there. I just go, I click on one ticket and cheap, and they're like, well, this is an obstructed view. Okay. Because after fees and whatnot, it was a lot of money. And then the next tier, which was because the cheap, which was $49.99, and then all the Ticketmaster fees and whatnot, it brought it up to pretty high. Then the next ticket price was $99. Again, nosebleeds, top of Lumen Field. And I don't know what the ticket fees would that be, but I know it would be a lot more than $100, especially what I paid for mine. But I'm happy. And I'm used to obstructive views going to shows, especially if it's just a giant cement beam in front of my feet. I've dealt with that. So I understand the frustration, but again, I'm not entitled, and even if even if I wasn't able to get one, I would have been okay with. But I got the ticket that I got, which I waited in line, and so right when I got mine, I didn't post. This is the first time that I actually told anybody other than anybody in my small circle, and I've gone into gloat or whatnot because still a long ways from now. And it's still 8 months plus from now. I now have to save money to be able to get up there and enjoy, and then come back down because spending close to $100 for a ticket, that's a lot of money for me. And a lot of people were going after, the most expensive tickets. I was so happy that I just got the one ticket, and it was nosebleeds. I'm happy. And so that's something that I get to look forward to. And people really make you feel bad after you work hard getting something, and it just was taxing, and I had a mental breakdown afterward, and the intrusive thoughts and just reading all the negative who people who posted that they got a ticket. People were like, whoa, it should have been me. And I've mentioned this many times in my podcast. I hear that a lot in my life. And I'm like, I'm not going to post. And with the cancellation of the general public sale, because there is, from what Ticketmaster said, there basically wasn't any inventory left. They messed up. And when I bought my ticket, within minutes there was no tickets available whatsoever within not even 5 minutes. And this was roughly 5:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then the next day they had the Capital One sale, and just keep an eye, because I heard that they would be raising the prices for the Capital One pre-sale. I didn't see any proof of that, but the internet made you believe that. I didn't see any of that. I didn't really see any of the dynamic pricing, but I didn't have access to any things to see for myself. I only saw what people showed on the internet, and that can be misleading. Please don't believe everything you read or hear on the internet. And some of the TikToks that I saw, they're definitely clickbait. And the person who they just trying to get clout, and fans are furious. Real people who are diehard Taylor Swift fans who want to spend their hard-earned money for great feats. Good for them. I hope that, and then them just being devastated that either they didn't get an opportunity to, or scalpers kind of just made that not fair. And with floor tickets being, roughly being $900 before all the taxes and fees and stuff, and majority of people are buying way more than one. And I don't have $900 to spend. And even if I had an opportunity to spend that kind of money, I would probably go with cheap seats anyways. And so I'm I'm looking forward to that, but it's very frustrating. And, you know, I mentioned that I would have liked to go to both dates, even though I kind of knew that was not financially possible. Definitely not, and I didn't even have an opportunity to. But it would have been nice. But I'm happy just with one. My obstructive view behind the stage. And so, but just talking to a few people who I like to just vent with, have a conversation with, and they basically said, look, excuse me, I'm not feeling well. That they went, look, Scott, you have been a Taylor Swift fan for a very, very, very long time. You may be a metalhead, you may love hard rock, but you've always liked Taylor Swift. And you don't hide the fact that you like Taylor Swift. And you, even after you've seen Reputation Tour, you mentioned that you wanted to go, and I am a diehard Taylor Swift fan, and I was lucky enough to get one of the hand-signed photos included into the Taylor Swift Midnight album, which it's right next to me. It has a heart. I like it. And I posted those on Instagram, and then I've gotten DMs saying negative things. I have ignored them because I don't do negativity well. It's hard for me to process that. I try to be very positive, and sometimes my positivity, there is a lot of negative. And I tend to be negative and hard on myself. It's the war that I fight. And this person was like, look, you were able to get a ticket. You should feel grateful because I know you are. And I get that you feel for other fans. And, hopefully one day they can. But for you, you are a huge fan. Yeah, you don't post about it, but, you are a fan. And they're like, yeah, you don't wear any of the merchandise because she doesn't release merchandise for large males. And so the merchandise that I buy is music based, or I have my one of my prized possessions is a blanket from the Reputation album that says the end of all endings. That's the end of all endings. And it was a painting that she did. And that's one of my favorite things in the world. It's an amazing blanket. But I'm just very grateful. But this entire issue this past week has made me very anxiety, and put a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of people who complain, and then especially, today being Saturday, it's still being talked about in various ways. You have it being spun, being political. You have it being spun in many ways by the media. And that leaves a sour taste in my mouth. And I mean, she's a lot popular than she once was. I don't think that's a bad thing. But it's made a lot of her diehard fans upset, and I understand that. And everybody thinks different. Everybody operates differently. But even if I didn't get one, this episode probably would have been up anyways. Because it's something that definitely should be talked about, and hopefully going forward things can improve. And the way that this was handled was wrong for many different reasons. One of the major things that I have an issue with is you had to go to, either Instagram or Twitter to find the updates. They didn't update you on the website itself. And that is kind of infuriating, because I don't really do social media. I don't. When I got the itch to do research to see, how prices were working and everything, I wouldn't have gone to those sites, because I was just curious, because I had, it being 9 in the morning, so 7 in the morning for, the East Coast, 10 in the morning for the East Coast, 7 in the morning for the West. I was up, and I wanted to just see how the buying process was going, and just curiosity. That's something that I was, and if it wasn't for, the crashing of the site and just watching, that I wouldn't have been on social media. So I could only imagine the people who chose not to do any of the social media, and the site going down, and I wonder what their actual reaction would be. But yeah, it was terrible. It was a terrible experience. And I don't know, going forward, what this will all do, but I have a bad feeling. I definitely have a bad feeling. But I think that's an okay thing. because, you know, because of the unknown and going forward, and I'm not going to really talk about, like the Department of Justice during the investigations, and while just going through everything, I decided to, look up for my show and on further investigation, some of the resellers have actually lowered the price for like where I would be sitting. And it's like $1,000 per seat, but still, that's still kind of outrageous. The scalpers and resellers kind of just ruining it for everybody. I hope things get restructured, and it's frustrating because there's a lot of Swifties out there. There's a lot of Taylor Swift fans, and especially for other fans of other artists and events that really want to go to events in their certain price range, because money's tight for a lot of people, and they don't have the luxury to spend lots of money. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for me, I'm kind of lucky. I'm single, I don't have a family, I don't have kids, so I can just buy one. But a lot of people have people in their life that they have to buy 2, maybe 4 people, and that's rough. And then you have scalpers who just ruin it for everybody. And with the information that Ticketmaster released, which is a nightmare because people are just being negative, and at this point I don't think no matter what anybody does will change the situation. It is what it is. But it breaks my heart, because this should have been a glorious thing, and I try and spread positivity. I try and spread the love, trying to just lift people up, and nothing I say or do can change the situation. And it's a learning experience, and hopefully it improves going forward. And I just, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth, because it could have been better. And I care about everybody. I just wish people had a fair chance, and that's just my opinion, because there's a lot of it's just a lot of words that I'm having a hard time finding, Because I'm not the only one who's sad and depressed because of this entire situation. And I feel for a lot of people. And just going forward. So this is the end of the Taylor Swift fans versus Ticketmaster fiasco. So I want to, and like I always do, spread the positivity, spread the love, and with Thanksgiving being next week, and me just fighting the depression and sadness and just the stuff that I'm going through in my life. I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're in the States, if you're in other places, I hope you have a wonderful week. And smile. Know that you're loved, that you matter. Let people lift you up, not tear you down. And just know better days are coming. Chase your dreams, because I believe in you. And know that I'm rooting for you. I care about you. I care about each and every one of you. Please be safe. And just I love you all. And hopefully, things improve. We're in the part of the year that it's just really hard on me, and I gotta keep on being me and trying to make things better. But smile. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Coping with Life. I'm your host, Scott, and I bid you adieu.